We'd start the broadcast.
Yes, please.
Brilliant. Good evening, Susie. Please can you start the broadcast? Thank you.
Thank you. And good evening and welcome everyone in the room and online to this meeting of South Oxfordshire District Council Cabinet. My name is David Rowan. I'm the leader of the council and I'm chairing this evening. First item is Chair's announcements. Now, everybody I think has been here before, so knows their way out. I don't have any further announcements. So in terms of apologies, Becky, would you like to take a roll call?
Yes, of course. I'll go through in alphabetical order. So Councillor Maggie Philippova-Rivers.
Here, present in the room.
Thank you. Councillor Georgina Heritage.
Present in the room.
Thank you. Councillor Sam James Laurie.
Present in the room.
Brilliant. Councillor Lily Rawlins.
Present in the room.
Thank you. Councillor David Ruane.
Present in the room.
Thank you. Councillor Anne-Marie Simpson.
Present in the room.
Thank you. And Councillor Tony Morgan.
Present in the room.
Thank you. We've received apologies from Councillor Peter Barker.
And that's everyone. Item 3 is minutes. There are two sets of minutes, one which is confidential. So I'm going to try you first and say, are you happy to take the first minutes and see those in favour? If I propose it, Maggie is seconding. We're happy to accept the minutes of the meeting on the 9th of October. Everyone, thank you. There are some exempt minutes because that item was confidential. Are people happy to, if I propose those and take those, then we say going into the confidential session? Everyone's, yeah. Obviously, if somebody has anything they want to raise on that, we can go into session, but I'm guessing not. Okay, that's minutes. Item 4 is declarations of interest. Given the nature of the business tonight, I'm guessing there's not any. We do have people who are members of other councils, so that's well known and not a peculiar interest. So that's all noted in the members' registers. Item 5, urgent business. I don't have any urgent business. Item 6 is public participation. Do we have any public?
No urgent speakers, Chair.
Okay, item 7 is recommendations and updates from committees. Now, we have a separate paper which is on your desk, which has the recommendations. And if we just run through it quickly, I'm going to address how we're reacting to that in the actual, when we come to discuss the item. But yes, there are notes from the meeting of the council, which agreed the recommendations, but with a amendment to wording in the resolution around delivering strong climate action, or action on climate change and promote nature recovery, which we're minded to accept. Joint scrutiny came up with, again, agreed the main recommendation, but came up with some proposals, which I addressed, as I say, as part of my introduction to the main item. Most of them are clarifications within the recommendation, and so, or within the proposal, which we're happy to accept. But I'll go through them. And we'll take a vote at the end about accepting those changes. And so we can discuss with other councils, because one of the blessings and the problems with this is we're trying to agree things between 5 councils, which is great if we can pull it off, but of course it makes things more complicated. But we are, I think, in agreement on those things. And then there is another addition to the proposal, which at the end of the recommendations, which would be to allow the Deputy Chief Executive in consultation with the leader to make any minor adjustments to wording that come up it's always possible that we'll spot a typing mistake or a slight clarification that needs doing. So it's quite normal in papers that come to Cabinet that we agree that the senior officer responsible is allowed to make small changes in consultation with the Cabinet members. So we'll be adding that. So
On this occasion, Chair, it's in agreement with the leader.
right. Better crack on then. Item 8. Sorry, does anybody have any questions on item 7? We'll address them as we go along.
I think most of us actually were at joint scrutiny and actually listened to the debate.
Yeah.
So I think we're reasonably well informed on what was said and what was proposed.
Yeah, it was good to see lots of people online for that meeting. It was, I say, all encompassing. Everybody had a part. Okay, the proposal in front of you, local government reorganisation, is considering the report and the recommendations in that report, which is to essentially to submit this proposal. I'll propose it and introduce it. Councillor Philippa Rivers will second. If I move on to introduction, then I'll ask Maggie if she wants to second straight away or right. Okay. Right then. This proposal is unique in that it's been produced by 5 councils acting together. It's the result of a public engagement process across the whole area, which told us that people were not happy with the current services, that they wanted to cut costs, and that they wanted a council which was responsive to local needs. It has been tested by rigorous debate in public meetings and within each council at a series of scrutiny and full council meetings. And it has evolved as a result. And I would like to thank all of those who took part. At the end of this introduction, I will list the changes which we are making to the proposal as a result of those meetings. We haven't agreed with everything. Our joint scrutiny committee, for example, spent a lot of time discussing the financial position of each district, whilst ignoring the elephant in the room, which is the £505 million capital funding requirement of the county council, which will have to be found by the new councils. The main reason why I favour the 2 unitary proposal is size. I want a council which is small enough to be responsive to local need. I've often told new county councillors how I once attended a council meeting where we spent 20 minutes discussing a particular traffic light in Oxford, whilst the Watlington Relief Road and the Didcot Northern Perimeter Road remained unbuilt. They laughed, but following the latest meeting, or their latest meeting, which concentrated almost solely on the city congestion charge, whilst ignoring the executive's proposal to set up a new giant council to run all services in the county, they are laughing no longer. The next reason is financial. Independent modelling by PricewaterhouseCoopers indicates that our proposal delivers the largest year-on-year savings, money that can be made available for better services. I don't think anyone is arguing that that model is exactly right, but they use the same model to compare the 3 proposals, and so any differences would be would sit alongside each other. And finally, the need to innovate. This process gives us a once-in-a-generation opportunity to look at all the council's services and make them the best they can be. This will be lost if we adopt the steady-as-you-go or business-as-usual approach. Coming to the updates which we're proposing, the Joint Scrutiny Committee made the following comments and recommendations. The first one was to recommend that Cabinet consider adding individual breakdowns per unitary authority in the SIP for financial resilience analysis. This has been considered by the 5 councils, and it's been agreed that the executive summary narrative will be strengthened to provide clarity that our combined scores presented on page 8 and the options appraisal undertaken covers the whole geographic area of the proposal in accordance with the government's criteria. We also give individual breakdowns for option 1, which are on page 34, and individual breakdowns for option 2, but we have been unable to give a similar breakdown for option 3 because of the nature of that proposal, cutting across, as it does, across district boundaries. So that's the first one. The second recommendation was that Cabinet consider further emphasising the authority's experience in delivering in rural areas, and we are adding to the executive summary to make that clear. The third one was that joint scrutiny note and support the officer review of the approach proposed to deliver fire and rescue services. This is something which is a legal requirement, and so we're noting in an amendment will be made to this section in chapter 3 to set out how we're addressing the legal requirements to have a fire and rescue service. The joint scrutiny supports officers working on a designed version of the proposal. Quite hurtful, I thought, some of their comments about the design of the thing, but this wasn't the final, it was never intended to be the final design. And I think both Bethia and I have put our foot down that we're not going to be photographed on it. There are far more lovely things to see in Oxfordshire than our faces. But we should include some of those lovely things, as well as the map on the front showing where all the towns are. The next one was joint scrutiny. Note that West Berkshire Resource and Place Scrutiny Committee supported the full council amendment, which is the amendment that I read out earlier, that had gone through our council. West Berkshire's were happy, their scrutiny committee was happy to take that on as well. Okay, so those are the amendments and my case for proposing. So when we come to the end, I'll ask if people agree those amendments as well as the recommendations. So that's my proposal, that we submit this tome to some lucky civil servant in support of our proposal. Councillor Philipova.
I'll reserve my right. I'll speak at the end. Thank you.
I should have asked if anyone had any questions. As I said, this has gone to full council and to scrutiny, so I'm fairly sure we've covered off. I think we've been quite solid. Okay, open to debate then. Would anyone like to speak on this? Councillor James Lorry.
I'm quite fortunate, really, because my ward is directly below Oxford, and I support either or of the proposals going forwards, just as long as it isn't Greater Oxford. So I see this as a win-win. I think the report is well written. The officers and everybody that's contributed to it has done an absolutely fantastic job. Though I still hold reservations about the name Bridgeway. But going forward from that, it is good, and I am glad it's going forward in the state it is.
Okay, Councillor Rollins.
Thank you. Yeah, there are two other proposals in play. One is for 3 unitary councils, which has the support of only one of the 6 Oxfordshire councils and is not supported by West Berkshire either. It is considered the most disruptive and least financially viable of all 3 of the proposals by a large margin. It proposes 3 councils, but 2 of them are far short of the government's 500,000 population guideline. And these two councils are the Northern and Greater Oxford ones. On reflection, one could correct that problem, but by combining those two councils, but then it would more or less become the proposal for two unitary councils, which includes the one that includes the Ridgeway proposals. As it stands, it has little to recommend it at all. The second proposal is for one Mega Oxfordshire. It's supported by no council assemblies and ignores West Berkshire, which also doesn't support it. It's not even supported by its own council assembly. While it references a census population of some 750,000, we know that there are a lot of housing permissions and allocations that are ready to go. So in future, it may well reach a gargantuan scale of nearly 1 million, which is vastly too big, in my view, for efficiency or knowledgeable service to local residents over such a big geography for all of Oxfordshire. It toys with talk of locality meetings, but unfortunately they appear to be largely talk shops without any decision-making capability. In future, the foreseeable risk is of decisions being made by members and officers who simply lack the deep understanding of local realities that is needed. And I think seriously large inefficiencies would result. Big is not always best and can bring big inefficiencies as spans and breadths of management control become far too great. There is a host of local and national evidence of such inefficiencies. Certainly, I would argue that the collapse of the condition of our highways in the past was in part due to this problem and not just down to political failures. I'd also point to other areas such as SEND, some Oxford-centric issues, children's care and youth provision as being potentially part of that largeness problem. The proponents of One Oxfordshire seek to promote the idea that big is best and creates the biggest financial savings. But that is because the benefits are, in my view, rather overstated, and the disbenefits are simply ignored and cast aside that there is no viable alternative. Well, I think there is. I think those who support this idea should be very careful, because it could be that a strategic authority in future ends up being even bigger and sucking more and more into itself, eating everybody's lunch. Great claims are made for procurement and specialist roles. However, South and Vale have long learned to cooperate on such things, and there is zero reason, in my view, why two unitaries could not share certain procurement, nor to have a residuary service entity controlled by the two sovereign unitaries. That would not be the end of the world. In my view, the residents in the research said very clearly, we want unitary councils, we want one front door, we want simplicity. But they also said they were concerned about a council being too far, too big, too distant, and not sufficiently close to the local realities. The two unitary solution before us tonight creates units that, in my view, are more than big enough to be viable financially and are local enough to care with the benefit of local knowledge. I'm also concerned that after division or ward boundary changes across this initially 750,000 and potentially 1 million within not too many years, because government reorganisation, our experience shows, lasts for at least 50 years. The last one was in 1974. So the proposal would crush, and now we have the accurate numbers, that there are 331 councillors now, and by decree, they would be reduced first to...
That was your 5 minutes late.
Give you another minute to wind up.
Okay, I might need all of that. The proposal is likely to crush that 331 to 138 before the boundary commission comes in and cuts it further to 100. Yeah, we care about the outcomes for our residents. The Ridgeway proposal creates a unitary with largely common characteristics of market towns and rural environments. Its natural main centres of Didcot and Newbury are well linked by the A34. There is much potential growth benefit between the telecoms and digital capability of Newbury and the science capabilities of Didcot. And not all jobs have to go to Oxford, nor should commuting be elongated by taking that kind of approach. The solution of 2 unitaries works, and that is underwritten by this proposal and its financials. Some concerns have been raised that boundaries might be irksome for villages and people living close to Oxford City, and that new, in effect, Tier 1 boundary lines arise. Personally, I don't want to see a boundary bring any diminution of respect for people on either side, nor to do other than sincerely respect the residents and city of Oxford. In fact, I think that the villages close to Oxford do have concerns about being consumed by development growth and seeing worsened congestion. Living as I do in Sunning Common, close to the Oxfordshire border with Reading and Berkshire, I do think I know a little bit about borders. And honestly, down there, we all live in the same country, and friends and families cross without any material issues. So I think we can manage this and do local government. So I would say this proposal is supported by 5 of the 7 councils and the public. It's a hugely impressive piece of work. Well done to everybody involved. Let's do it.
The end. That's a Morgan first. I won't be anywhere near as long, so you can assume that Lee took some.
Is there anything left to say?
The proposal had overwhelming support at full council, but one thing I say is, from a Didcot point of view, most residents don't care what the council looks like. They just want one front door, and frankly, everyone else will adapt to whatever the decision is about the councils. It doesn't stop joint working. OCC are working with Reading on certain things now. Whatever the council is, we will be working with other people, other councils will have to do that. It's the right thing to do for certain services. And there's nothing stopping it now, as has happened between South and Wales. It's the right thing to put things together, and it might be the right thing to do on whatever the future council looks like. Experience tells me that One Oxfordshire will focus hugely on Oxford. It's a really important and key place, but there is too much focus on Oxford. And if you follow the big is better argument to conclusion, well, you might as well send everything up to the mayor. We want decisions taken as close to people as possible. It's the best way of reconnecting government and people. The decision should reflect that we have different areas here, and the Ridgeway and Oxford and Shires proposal is not perfect, and no proposal ever could be. But I think it's the best way of achieving that connection between our community, which is slightly different from Oxford and Banbury. There are cousins, they're really important to us, but delivering it as 2 councils is the best way of reflecting the slightly different communities that we have across Oxfordshire, but it still means we work together. I think it's the right way forward, and I'd like to echo the thanks that have been given already to officers. The huge work done. It's an incredibly impressive document and piece of work, and thank you to everyone in the team that's been responsible for doing that. Thank you.
Here. Georgina. Well, I'm going to speak really briefly because my colleagues have spoken so fully and articulately that there probably is genuinely very little left to say, really. I agree entirely with their comments. So I'm just going to repeat a couple of things I said at full council, really, that I've thought very seriously about the One Oxfordshire proposal, especially sitting on 2 councils. But as I've said previously, it is too easy, and as others have said, it's too easy to just go with more of the same. I believe in the efficiencies of the Ridgeway Council and its ability to succeed for the benefit of residents, and that's got to be the priority. Something that we've discussed in the past is the opportunity to innovate, which was just a really strong point to me, because we have an opportunity to improve the offer, and I think our residents deserve this. I can see, I've had experience, as many of us have around this table, of how much better our communities are served when their council is not remote. Councils shouldn't be remote from the communities they're serving, and the bigger the council, the more remote it will inevitably be, the less it touches the people it's serving. So there is a value to the personal, there's a value to the sense of connection, and I believe that this is also the most efficient way to do business.
Yeah, once again, I'd like to thank officers right across our council, because I can see the work that's gone into it. I think it is a very well-written report. And also I'd like to actually thank officers right across Oxfordshire, because one thing about our proposal is it really has had to involve officers right across Oxfordshire and West Berkshire. So I think that already you can see the collaboration or the working with others that we do so well already at the council, having been taken a step further in preparing this report. I also think that it's a positive vision for two councils, and it's ambitious. Innovation's been mentioned. We are, I think, already as a council doing a lot of innovative stuff. We've certainly done it through the planning, and I think that I can't see us stopping that and the transformation work. I can see us only taking it further. I really want to also focus on a paper quite near the end of the report, which is the Planning for Devolution, a growth offer from the proposed two unitary councils. We know that government's very interested in growth, and actually the housing and economic growth that has been secured and delivered by the district councils already will just be taken up and carried on and progressed further. So I think we're working really in the right direction, and it's good growth. We have climate action at the centre of future plans in our proposal. It's the way we've been working in planning for a long time now, and I think that should not be overlooked. So I think good growth. We're looking at growth, but we're looking at growth that actually helps our residents, and we need that growth to be understood by them as well, whether it's housing growth or economic growth, or actually growth in our environment. And we can do that with not being as remote as perhaps One Oxfordshire would be. I don't want to be too negative about other proposals, because I want to focus on the positiveness of ours, but I have a feeling that the One Oxfordshire proposal is a bit more along the lines of continue as, and we know that they haven't delivered for us in South. They certainly haven't delivered here for our plans, which support delivery of our adopted local plans, and there are other issues around transport modelling and other delays that perhaps in spending section 106. So I really don't feel as confident in that proposal as our proposal. I'm very, very enthusiastic about our proposal, so I will be supporting it.
Thank you. I think that's everyone except for seconder. Who, yes, would like to speak now?
Are you timing me? Again, I want to thank officers. It is, as we can see it over there at Councillor Rain's table, the full printed proposal, which actually I was taken aback by. It has been difficult, for sure, the process, writing it across so many different councils and so many different people and so many different teams and consultants. But boy, are we better for it. It is really a very, very strong proposal. And I think that whatever happens, whatever decision the Secretary of State, we really can be very proud that we have collectively given it the very best shot. I will be, of course, supporting quite passionately the proposal for two unitaries, and that is because I believe that decision-making and service delivery should remain as close as possible to people and businesses that we serve. It is a difficult time. Public services are on their knees, decision makers are remote, and politics feels broken to people. There is a very significant distrust when it comes to public institutions and certainly politicians. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about, which I haven't mentioned previously at Council, is around the accountability and representation. So as a district councillor for Goring, I know my communities. I know, and when I make decisions, I don't kind of think in abstract policy terms. I know people by their actual names, where they live, their interests, their frustrations, and their hopes for their place. That everyday connection between councillor and community is really the essence of accountability and of trust. At the council meeting, I think a lot of people spoke about that one front door, but I think confusion is an issue, but a much lesser issue than lack of trust in politicians generally. And so, yeah, under the One Oxfordshire proposal, we would lose 2/3 of all councillors. And one of the things that really worries me is that kind of proximity that people have both to decision making and decision makers, but also to services, would be lost by losing these 2/3 effectively of representatives. And so what we would be effectively reduced to is kind of consultation rather than genuine representation. So this appearance that we have a representative democracy, whilst making it almost impossible for people like me, especially with caring responsibilities and day jobs, to actually get involved, and then that there is a kind of a kind of inclusion and close equalities issue there as well. So under the 2 unitary plan, we would effectively have, again, this is all needs to be ironed out by the successor authority, but effectively we're looking at two councillors per division, which is cuts any kind of duplication. There is a little bit of duplication, but still there would be 2 strong representatives that people will know by name, and they will have that chance of developing these really strong relationships within their communities. I hate talking about councillors as dead weight, as the first thing to cut. It is not true. Just today I had a parish clerk get in touch with me because he has really been struggling to get in touch with an OCC officer. They just were not responding, and I couldn't understand why. Within that day, that issue was resolved. And that is what we do at the time when public services are on their knees, and very sadly, many officers are having to deal mostly to be kind of scarcity managers rather than, as they, I am sure, would love to be providing for need. Councillors can step in and provide that access, that bridge between, talented officers and the needs within communities. I was speaking to a lady who was a domestic violence victim. I couldn't really help her. I don't think the council could really do much about her situation, but I was there for her, and I feel that she felt reassured that when the time comes and she needed that support, that we would be there. Likewise, a person who is very severely disabled and is trying to access housing is very frustrated with having to bid for housing and never quite managing despite his high priority need. And that encouragement I was able to offer to him in terms of just to persevere and to cast the net wider. And I think that kind of relationship we have with our officers, and that important kind of almost dance that we can and by working together we can really deliver for what people need. Remember, people come to us as a last resort for quite a significant number of our services. They would rather not have to, but that is the function that we fulfill. My second, and I won't speak to it because others have mentioned, is that kind of balancing rural and urban interests. I have mentioned in council. I do not see anything that OCC are currently doing, or in terms of their proposal, that would resolve for me that balance being addressed. As David has mentioned, the bulk of OCC meetings are dominated by Oxford-related stuff. I don't blame them. That's where the need is. That's where the traffic is. That's where homelessness is higher. It will naturally pull a lot of resources and attention to that centre. And I think the problem is with the structure, with the governance structure, rather than with people necessarily, with councillors, with officers. I think that is what is flawed. And I think our rural communities deserve a voice. Our small businesses deserve a voice. They are a very big proportion of job creators, job providers locally. So I would really love, and I think our proposal really would help to address and rebalance and enable our communities to set their own agendas and priorities. Roughly okay?
Thanks so much.
Well done.
Becky and I were debating which of us was going to tell you.
I've chickened out.
No.
It's going to be up so nice. I was simply going to say, Chair, nobody has forced me or bullied me into any particular decision, and I respect that same thing with other councillors who, in due conscience, have fallen the other side of the line in genuine judgment and consciousness. And I think it's really important that we keep that good relationship between all of those who may dissent from our view.
I think everyone has spoken. I'll do a quick roundup on some of the things I picked out from what people have said, and then we'll, with Becky's help, we'll take me through which bits what we need to agree. And pick up on that last point that Lee just made. We all want what's best for our residents. We don't always agree about how to get there, but I would say that in politics generally, most people come into politics because they want what's best for the residents. And we just have different ways and different interpretations of what is best and how best to achieve it, but everyone's trying to do the same. In my speech, I didn't talk very much about the third option of 3 councils. That was deliberate because I don't think it addresses the government's criteria. And yeah, if this were a funding proposal that was going through, it wouldn't make through the first hurdle because it just didn't address. And I was on a meeting this morning with other council leaders who are in similar situations, and they're talking about judicial reviews if a very small council is approved because it doesn't meet the criteria that the government set. We've all worked to that criteria, and we don't want to find that we've wasted our money on that. On boundaries, I'm just reading a really good book which I'll recommend to you, History of the World in 47 Boundaries. And it's about well-known boundaries around the world. And one of the points that he makes is Hadrian's Wall wasn't there to keep the hordes out. It was there to regulate the flow from north to south. So lots of trading was going on north and south of even that impressive wall. But the wall was there to manage that relationship. As in good fences make good neighbours. It wasn't, we're not taking the Donald Trump approach to our neighbours, that you build a wall and nobody goes through it. So that we have a strong relationship with the City of Oxford, and particularly with Oxford University. We'll continue to have that relationship, and businesses in the Ridgeway area will continue to have that relationship. It's an administrative boundary. It's not a patrolled security fence. And finally, I do want to take issue on the name Ridgeway. Even a county councillor speaking at their scrutiny meeting who is solidly in favour of the one unitary admitted that we have the coolest name. And so
disagree.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but Midsummer just sounds too dangerous. So with that, let's move on to the proposal. First of all, I think what we do is agree to accept the amendments that are set out in the recommendations and updates from other committees, which are shown in red on your one, which I went through in my introduction. So if I propose those, Councillor Morgan seconding, everyone in favour of those amendments? Okay, so that now takes us to the main document.
Yeah, the main proposals.
The main proposals, which are, and I will paraphrase, but they're on page 11 of your pack. recommendations are A, note that since the statutory invitation to all councils in two-tier areas, significant work has been undertaken and engagement has happened between councils in Oxfordshire and West Berkshire. B is to note that 2 other proposals are coming forward and we have mentioned those during debate. C approves the submission of this proposal for a 2 unitary option. D delegates responsibility, delegates to the Deputy Chief Executive of Corporate and Communities authority with the agreement of the leaders to make changes to the proposed document prior to submission. That's where we spot small things that need changing or in discussion with other councils in order to bring our views together. You might need to make minor changes. And then E, subject to C being approved, notes that Sherwell, South Oxfordshire, Vale of Whitehorse, West Oxfordshire will submit full proposal directly to government in line with Oxfordshire's invitation letter. Is that all we need to agree?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Can I see those in favour of those proposals? That is everyone. And so that was item 8. Item 9 and 10 we've already dealt with, so that is end of the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Could have had 5 more.
Can you finish the broadcast, please, Lucy?
It wasn't you we were worried about.